The dudes on the porch are doing something a little bit different tonight. We have blind tasted two different Pinot Noirs. All that we have told everyone, just a couple of us know what one of the wines are. I guess I know what both. So I'll kind of lead us around the room in a second. But I think this is a good exercise that you can do with friends, because no matter how much wine you drink or don't drink, you'll learn a lot in these blind tastings, and it's not as easy as you might think. So we've tasted two Pinots, both around the $30 price point. We're going to see what the guys think about them. Okay, Barry, so you've tried both of these wines. Just compare and contrast a little bit. What did you like, not like about each of them?
The first one I really, really liked a lot. It was really fruity, really tasty, really delicious. And to me, it really stood out. I thought it was great. The second one, I don't know, for me, doesn't do as much. It's very pleasant stuff, but it doesn't have a flavor that really doesn't bring a lot to my mouth. I tasted a lot at the front of my tongue, but I like the first one way more.
Okay, and Patrick, for those that remember all of the dudes on the porch, even though we'll get to a guest in a second, how do you compare these two Pinot Noirs?
Well, a couple things. Since they're a little bit higher price point than what we usually drink, they both drink really well. They're really well balanced. I wouldn't kick either one of them out. I think the first one has this very Burgundian feel, so more reddish fruit, a little brighter taste, strawberries and things like that. The second one, I still feel like it's got a little bit of that red fruit, but maybe sort of darker kinds of fruits like plums or things like that. Not like blackberries or black kind of fruits like that. But it's more earthy, and so a little bit darker fruit, but still kind of reddish. Both of them were great.
Both of them were great. And now we have, I guess this would be kind of like Dude on the Porch intern.
Right.
Wouldn't it? This is Stephen, and Stephen is a 21-year-old college senior. And Steve, you drank a little bit of wine. How do you compare these two?
Well, I liked the fact that the colors on these, the first one was obviously brighter, just in the color alone, and it followed through on taste. The second one I preferred better over the first because of the bold, more definitive tastes. Like the word's been thrown around, balanced, and both of them were very balanced and had a great flavor. But the second one was I prefer heavier wines, so I kind of went with it.
And Alex, you talk quite a bit about both these wines. Reiterate a little bit for us what your thoughts on them were.
Well, I think I certainly agree with Patrick on the first one that it's much more fruit forward. There was a certain was a little lighter. Certainly flowed very nicely, but it to me it wasn't nearly as complex as the second one. The second one had much more some spice notes, a little bit heavier fruit, a little bit more layering. It had you could certainly tell the oak barreling in the second one, and it had a little bit of vanilla throughout it, and it finished a little heavier. And what I liked about the first wine was that it was a beautiful sipping wine. The second one, not only is it good to have by the glass, but I felt that it could hold up to food a lot better, and I like that quality about it as well.
Okay, now for the sake of fun, let's go around the room and say where you believe these two wines may have come from. And Pinot is a wine that's usually pretty definitive about region and terroir. But you want to make a guess on 1 and 2, Alex?
I think to me, everybody was talking Oregon for the first and California for the second. I actually felt that it was probably the opposite. I thought that the second one was from Oregon. And the first one I thought was a good, solid California.
Stephen, you've probably not consumed as much wine as these guys, but we'll give you a stab at it anyway.
Well, I'm always hesitant to try to place wine because I've tried it before and I'm not good at it. But it felt like the first one was a Napa Valley, like from what I've tasted, and the first one. Let's see, I'm on the first one, then the second one, right? First one was Napa Valley. The second one I would put in Oregon, maybe Washington. That'd be my call.
Cool. Patrick, what do you think?
If we're doing point counterpoint, I'm Dan Aykroyd and he's Jane Curtin. And I have to say, Jane, you ignorant. I would say the first one is from the Willamette Valley for sure. And I would actually say the second one is also from Oregon, but I'm not sure where. I think it's just a different producer.
We'll come back to this, but you brought one of these wines. You
I
know
did.
what one of them is. Was your wine number 1 or number 2?
I've only had the wine that I brought. I've had a single glass of it. a few months ago in Detroit, and I would say it was number one.
And how hurt will you be if I tell you you're wrong?
Not very.
Okay. We have to give Barry a chance on this. Barry, any idea about region?
First one, I still think's Oregon. Second one, California.
Okay, so that was a lot of fun. So this is like the reveal, and maybe I should admit I pulled a little bit of a trick, but not a great big one. The first wine, and we had Oregon, we had California, and maybe a Washington State, and no one got it right. The first wine came from Michigan. Shady Lane,
serious?
Shady Lane Cellars.
Wow,
Awesome.
no kidding.
And I wrote on the blog when I was up there, this is the closest thing I've ever tasted to Oregon Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
Very
you
nice.
would,
That's
you would be
awesome.
right. Wow.
Very, very nice.
The second wine is actually one of the premier producers in all of Oregon, Domaine Serene, which makes just absolutely beautiful wines. So this is really a fun exercise, something you can do at home, something you can have a lot of fun with, and even guys that drink a lot of wine, and some of our friends and significant others might tell us too much, can be pretty easily fooled. It also tells you there's some great wines coming out of places you might not expect them.